Kevin Warsh is finally replacing Jay Powell as the chairman of the Fed. Donald Trump is probably super happy because he spent the entire 2025 bullying Jay Powell to force him to lower down interest rates. He wanted lower interest rates so that he could actually have a lot more money for other things that he had in mind. But because interest rates were insanely high, the interest rates on the US Treasuries has also been really high, which meant that the US government spent a lot of money servicing the debt. But now, finally, we have somebody as the chairman of the Fed who is going to listen to Donald Trump and is going to bring down interest rates. But here's the problem. Donald Trump has officially trapped the new chairman of the Fed. And now, who knows what exactly he's going to do? Because right now, he's not in a position to do what Donald Trump wants, to lower down interest rates. Over the last 4 years, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates at about 5% in order to bring inflation down. And the Fed has done a really good job and brought down inflation to almost 2%. But now, everything is out of control. In April, inflation was 3.8%. And this is not a one-time thing, because back in March, inflation was also about 3%. And this is just the beginning, because if this trend is going to continue, we are going to see inflation of more than 4%. And this is a huge problem for the Fed, because why did we spend so much time bringing down inflation? If the Fed will reverse its position and will again raise interest rates, it is going to hurt the middle class. It is going to hurt the business. It is going to hurt the deficit. So everybody, starting from the government to the average consumers, was waiting for inflation to cool down so that the rates are going to go down. But it seems like that's not happening unless the new chairman of the Fed wants to destroy the US economy. Because if you don't bring inflation to a sustainable level, investors will lose trust in the US dollar. And the dollar is the most powerful economic tool the US government has. This is the tool that the United States uses in order to control the global economy and ensure that the US economy will be the most powerful economy in the world. And the plan was very simple. Yes, high interest rates are going to cost the US government over $1 trillion in interest payments, but this is a very important move in order for us to bring down inflation. And by the end of 2026, we might actually have interest rates at about 2.5%. And the yields on the US Treasuries would be at around 3%, and that would be very sustainable for the US government, at least in the long run. But guess what? This is not happening. How are we going to bring down interest rates to 3% or 2.5% when inflation is about to hit 4%? And the data on that is very clear. Investors are already sending a very clear message to the Fed that we don't actually trust you. Not by simply getting to the streets and shouting, we don't trust you, but rather it's very easy to find out how much investors trust the chairman of the Fed or the US dollar in general. Is how much is their appetite for the US Treasuries. The US government consistently refinances the debt. That means that whenever the US Treasuries expire, the US government issues new treasuries by simply replacing their previous debt. And that's how US government basically avoids to pay off the debt and at the same time avoid any kind of bankruptcies. And the demand for these US Treasuries are going to determine what are going to be the yields. If there are very few investors who actually want to buy the US Treasuries, what do you think is going to happen to the yields? The yields are going to spike. And vice versa. Let's say there is some kind of a crisis and now investors across the globe are extremely worried about their money. What do you think they will do? They will fly or they will take their money and they will start buying massively US Treasuries to protect their wealth. And that's, by the way, what happened when the United States has launched an operation against Iran. You can clearly see that the yields on the US Treasuries have plummeted. But look at what happens right after that. The yields on the US Treasuries have actually hit 4.6%. And this is really high, assuming the fact that these are 10-year US Treasuries. 10-year US Treasuries are probably the most important indicator to realize how much appetite investors have on the US debt. So, if inflation will rise to 4%, 4.2%, what do you think is going to happen? This number is only going to accelerate. And here's the problem that Kevin Warsh is actually facing. On one side, he can actually just follow what investors want him to do. Investors want Kevin Warsh to raise interest rates to bring down that inflation so that the yields on the US Treasuries are going to go down. But what that is going to do is that again is going to increase the yields on short-term treasuries, but that is going to cost the US government hundreds of billions of dollars to service the debt. The US government has already spent last year over $1 trillion in interest payments, so that move alone is going to cost the US government far more. And that's because if you look at the total size of the US government, it's about $40 trillion. So a single percentage increase in interest rates is instantly going to cost the US government about $400 billion. On the other side, he might actually have to lower interest rates because that's what Donald Trump is expecting him to do. Donald Trump literally spent the entire last year trash-talking Jay Paul because he wanted him to lower down the rates. That is the fundamental reason why Donald Trump wanted Jay Paul to be gone. Why? Because he is not lowering the rates. And now he appointed somebody that he believes is going to lower down interest rates. And Kevin Warsh has said multiple times that we can easily lower down the rates. So investors are a bit worried. Is he actually going to do that? Now, there is a very interesting thing that he said multiple times. Kevin Warsh was at the same time against quantitative easing. Quantitative easing causes massive inflation because you're directly throwing money into the economy. A direct increase in the supply of the US dollars will definitely cause inflation. So Kevin Warsh's theory was very simple. We can easily lower down interest rates as long as we're not going to do quantitative easing. But it is impossible at this point for the US government to stop doing quantitative easing. In fact, in December of last year, the Federal Reserve has reversed its position and it stopped the quantitative tightening, which is taking money out of the economy because of the inflation of 2022, and started quantitative easing again. And now, most likely for the US government to avoid a default in the foreseeable future, that quantitative easing is supposed to continue. So, if you're the new chairman of the Fed and your theory is that we should not do QE and we can lower down interest rates, but now you're trapped in a position where you cannot possibly stop doing QE and at the same time you're expected to lower down interest rates and at the same time the yields on the US Treasuries are rising. Will that actually create another war between the chairman of the Fed and Donald Trump? Most likely yes, but we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. And here's another problem on the top of that is that Donald Trump is making it clear that the war is going to continue. So the Gulf countries have actually asked Donald Trump to stop his attacks on Iran. Because if the United States will restart the attacks on Iran, that is going to increase the price of oil. Why? Because that is going to create another shortage of oil. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz is actually closed, so about 20% of global supply of oil is not actually hitting the international markets. But there is one problem, is that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are still able to reroute about a third of their oil through other channels, such as through Red Sea, or maybe directly getting it into the Arabian Sea. But now, if there is going to be a war with Iran again, that means that Iran will most likely be targeting the oil refineries across the region, which will actually take out that third out of the international markets, which means that oil prices will rise, which means that inflation is going to rise. And here's the question, how long this war is going to last. Now, we know that this is not a one-day war. The moment this war started, I told you that it is easy to start wars, but it's very difficult to finish them. And that's why every war the US government has started has actually taken the US government decades. Think about how the Vietnam War started. It was literally a one-day operation, and before you know it, 15 years has passed. Think about the war in Afghanistan. Think about the war in Iraq, and I can give you on and on and on with so many examples. So most likely this war is going to continue because the Iranian regime knows for a fact that either they're going to finish this war by winning over the United States and controlling the entire Middle East, or it will be the end of that regime. So they have absolutely nothing to lose. And that might actually force the US government to send ground troops into Iran. And if that is going to happen, then you can expect inflation to rise to 4%, maybe 5%. And if you actually look at that inflation, there are two reasons how that war is going to boost inflation. First of all, as we talked earlier, is that it's oil prices. And in the worst case scenario, maybe by the end of the year, oil prices could actually grow inflation in the US above 5%. And that's most likely in the best case scenario because ground invasions can get really ugly. Imagine oil prices at around $200 or $180. And if that continues for another 12 months, the United States might actually put an embargo so that no one will be able to export oil out of the United States. And that will also collapse multiple other economies, such as the Japanese economy. But that's just one part of the problem. And the second reason how that could possibly create massive inflation is the US government debt. So the US government right now is sitting on almost $40 trillion of debt. And if this war is going to continue, you're going to ask yourself a very simple question. Who is going to fund that war? Of course, the US government will borrow that money. But here's the problem. Because the debt to GDP ratio has already crossed 100% and investors are worried about the state of the US debt, they're not willing to gamble more of their money on the US debt. Like the appetite on the US debt has actually plummeted. And that means that if the US government will try to raise more money to continue this ground invasion, and there aren't many people who are willing to loan more money to the US government, that means that the US government will have to offer higher yields to attract those investors. And if you're offering higher yields, that means that the cost of servicing the debt is going to rise. So if last year that was a little over $1 trillion, this year could be maybe $1.5 trillion, $1.4 trillion. But because you're still borrowing money to pay for previous debts, you're consistently massively increasing the supply of dollars. And so much dollars in the economy is again going to cause higher inflation. So if there is actually going to be a ground invasion like Donald Trump wants it, and if he's going to continue with this war because he's going to be very desperate since he wants to end the war as soon as possible, then you can actually expect inflation to go above 5%, 6%. And here comes a very simple question. What exactly Kevin Warsh is going to do in that scenario? Is he going to listen to Donald Trump or at least keep the rates the way they are? Or he is going to follow what the Fed's supposed to be. The historical role of the Fed was that we got to increase the interest rates no matter what is going to happen in the economy. And the examples of that is very clear. If you go back to 1970s when the US was in the middle of the Vietnam War, when the United States abandoned the gold standard, then there was an oil crisis, what the chairman of the Fed did? He literally raised the interest rate to 20% to avoid that massive inflation. Imagine for a moment if Kevin Warsh would do the exact same thing. At 20% interest rates, I have no idea how the government will sustain that debt, and I have no idea what kind of a war will be waged between Donald Trump and new chair of the Fed. And that's why the new chair of the Fed is actually trapped. But one way or another, if the Federal Reserve is going to actually increase interest rates, the question is that how is that going to impact you directly? First of all, you can always expect higher mortgage rates. The vast majority of the middle class Americans buy their houses by a mortgage because no one can afford $1 million house, $800,000 for a house. So if interest rates will rise, then you can possibly expect that buying a house is simply going to be a lot more expensive. But a house is just one example, because if you look at the state of the US economy, it's a debt-driven economy. People get auto loans to buy cars, student loans to get into universities, credit card debt are very popular, and so on and so forth. The second implication is that it can actually slow down the stock market or even crush the stock market. Whenever we increase inflation in the economy, that is going to decrease the value of future dollars. And because the entire stock market today is driven by companies who are supposed to make a lot of money in the future, these are tech companies, AI companies, On paper, the value of all of those future profits are going to be a lot less valuable because inflation is much higher today. So suddenly their valuations or true valuations are going to fall. So if you are a huge hedge fund investor, if you are an ETF, if you are a huge financial institution in Wall Street, you have to rebalance your portfolio and sell all of those overvalued stocks. And if one company is not going to do that, another company is certainly going to do that. So that is certainly going to lead to massive sell-off, which could potentially actually crush the stock market. And here's another most important question is that, so if that is going to happen, what are the best or the top 5 stocks you should be buying to capitalize on this opportunity? Because remember, since the day that Donald Trump took office, we're having massive crashes and then the market instantly rises right after that. And a lot of people, especially Wall Street, are making more money than ever. So if you want to know what are the best stocks you should be buying when the stock market is going to crash and you want a personalized investing strategy, then you can jump on 101 strategy session with my team for a personalized investing strategy tailored specifically for you. And the first 50 people who are going to use the link in the description of this video will get that strategy session completely for free. The link is in the description of this video.